everyone. I hope you are having a wonderful Monday. I am. It's gorgeous outside, and I ran outside and got the dogs out for about a 15-minute walk ahead of this meeting because I had to get out in that sunshine while we have it. One of my favorite things about living in North Texas is that even in the coldest month, we generally get some more pleasant weather, which is wonderful. So, today I am here to share with you guys the secret sauce recipe. The secret sauce recipe is the recipe or the 5 step process to get yourself back on track when something isn't going like you planned for it to in some area of your vision. And you're free to use it if you're working on one area and it decide that it needs to go in a little different direction as well. If you guys are on here, pop on and say hi. And of course, we're open to all questions. So happy Monday, Christina. It's so good to see you. And hi, Kimberly. Oh, I'm glad it's sunny in Utah too. That's fantastic. Well, hello, Trish. It's great to see you on here. So, the the first step in the 5 step process is to recognize when something isn't going quite right. And I'll give you an example. So, I had set some goals in my health and wellness, and I had several different goals. And of course, in between those goals was the other aspects of my vision. But so one was I felt like I was having, like half a glass of wine too many nights, like almost every night. And what I didn't like about it was I would go to bed later. I wasn't getting enough sleep, so affecting my energy level the next day. And then I wanted to I had reached a bad habit where I was eating two pretty good healthy meals that I fixed today, and then the third one, sometimes it was chips and cheese at night, like nachos in the microwave, more often than I felt was good for my body. And then the third thing was I go out regularly, I work out regularly at the gym, but I wanted to increase more, I want to get more cardio. And hey, Victoria, great to see you here too. And I realized that my cardio had actually fallen off, that I wasn't getting as much of it as the other. But that's funny, Christina. So the first step was awareness that I wasn't on track for the cardio the way I wanted to be. I wanted to get add in a little bit more cardio that would increase my heart health. But then I stopped and I acknowledged all the things that were working. I had successfully, not been having a glass of wine at night, been getting a lot more sleep, better sleep, feeling really good. I was doing a lot better job with only having the chips and cheese occasionally and mostly having 3 meals a day. So I acknowledge all the things that were good. So the first step was awareness of what wasn't working for me. The second step was acknowledging what was working for me and then celebrating what was working for me, because we have such a tendency to beat up on ourselves. And when we do that, a lot of times we just we lose track, we kind of give up. We give up on the good as well as the thing that wasn't working. And so we want to stay in problem solving mode. So, problem solving mode, why wasn't the cardio working? And actually, my schedule was really busy with other things not related to health, with the things I'm committed to do for the jobs that I'm doing, the new business and filling in at different veterinarians. And time was a big crunch for it. And then the weather hadn't been great. And one of my favorite cardio exercises is taking the dogs out for a walk. So, immediate action really was I need to rethink how I'm going to do the cardio, because the plan that I had wasn't going to work with the other things I was committed to in the work world. And so, I figured out, oh, I can do a rebounder or I can dance, and I can fit in 10 minutes between Zoom calls and 5 minutes here and there. And if I get in 10 or 15 minutes, even 3 or 4 days a week, that will change my cardio VO max, which is what I wanted to do. So then I figured that I needed to put it in my schedule when I was going to do it. And that allowed me to start making the change. And so step 4 is, what is the immediate next step that you can do on something that you want to make work that isn't? So for me, since the weather wasn't great, the first thing was to allow something indoor to hop into play. And then the second step is, what do I need to adjust? So the original plan wasn't going to work long term with the way my work schedule was. And so making that adjustment. And so we can do that with any process. You also can use this process, once you become aware of what isn't working, maybe there's a goal and you have a holdup, you have a mental block, like you can't seem to sit down and do it. You know, celebrate what is working and then think about, why is this not working? Is it something I really want to do? Or, do I really want to do it? Is there something that I'm feeling not confident about that's blocking it? Or is it more of, this isn't what I really want to do and I'm not admitting that? I'm thinking I need to do it because somebody else thinks it's a good thing to do. Because that mental block can throw off everything else we're working on if we start beating ourselves up, which is such a tendency, right? Oh, I'm just terrible. I just can't do this. And when we start down that pathway, we're not problem solving. We're beating ourselves up, and then we're not letting the magic in that can come when we start to figure it out. So I would love to hear questions. If you guys have specific things that you're feeling that you want to work on that isn't coming, feel free to type it in. Even if it takes a little bit, I'll read it out loud and then talk about it. And that way it makes sense to everybody. Because really, really, the goal is everybody here is worthy of having a bigger vision for what you want. And it can be like more vacations. It can be a job you really love. It can be a different, whatever would feel really good that you want, you deserve it and you can have it. There's a way to get there. And so this is about finding our way there. And Christina, I've been working on trying to narrow down what it is that I want. So what do you think is holding you back? I'm still encountering blocks around even be able to pick a direction. So what are some things that you really enjoy doing? What are some things that when you do, you feel, all three, I see this. Okay, I got it. Trish and Christina and Victoria. So what are some things that you really like to do? Like, for instance, do you like to walk? Do you like to craft? Do you like to listen to music? What are some things that you really love to do? Because sometimes in finding our way to what the direction we want to go, we have to get into a place of feeling good in whatever way is possible to feel good. So for me, I have some big decisions coming up. For me, getting out on a walk without any earbuds so that I'm just listening to the birds and soaking up nature helps me a lot to get back on track. Or sometimes sitting outside if I'm done for the day. Yes, I love to listen to music inside, but sometimes I have to turn off the music when I'm really looking for direction. So it varies. Sometimes it makes me happy and gets me in that space. I was listening to music this morning and it felt so good and I felt so in the zone. And that's the place where we can start to figure out, if you start to think about the direction you want to go and it doesn't feel good, there's a block. So you go back, listen to your music or get outside or dance or whatever makes you feel good again. And then think from that space. And then every time you go in one direction, if it doesn't feel good, then you look for another direction that feels better. Exactly, Kimberly. You have to be feeling good to allow the downloads to come in. And when Kimberly's referring to downloads, that's like that feeling that from universe, God, source energy, that those aha moments, you're like, oh, got it. I was doing a call today and it's about something that I was considering. And in the call, I felt really, really good. So I knew that I was on the right direction. And then that if I go in that direction, I have to make some different choices. And so then staying in that place of feeling good to figure out what choices feel better, which is yes, Victoria, exercise and movement helps me a lot too. And exercise movement outside really helps me when the weather lets that happen, or even when the weather's not great. It really is good for my mind. But the key is when you're stressed about it, you can't keep going there, because if you're in that moment of feeling stressed and you just keep Yes, I agree, Trish. I've gotten to where I can get outside. Even I've bought out clothing to where I can get outside even when the weather's pretty yucky, like rainy and all that, because I just do better if I get outside, even in the rain, even in the cold. I've got every size layer of jackets, pants, gloves now. Ah, you know what, Christina? Then volunteer some places that you can do music and arts, like when you are volunteering for the children's, or find easy places. I know you've been moving around a little bit where you can just soak up the music and the arts, and find a way that you can do some of it while you guys are transitioning around. Because when you're doing the things you love, you'll find the way that you're supposed to go. And I get that, yes. So we can do practical while we're creating the magical, right? But we want to create the magical. We want to make sure we have magical stuff that makes us feel fantastic, stuff that makes our heart sing while we're figuring it all out, because that's when the answers come. That's how you figure it out, how to put it together. Because there is exactly, Eleni, love leads the way. There is that thing that when you're doing what you love, aha moments will come where you can see where you can tie in the practical to the magical, to the things that feel good, and then it starts to feel better. And that's truly how you. And sometimes if you don't have a morning practice, I would encourage you to find a way to a morning practice, because our everyday stuff gets in the way of us being able to figure things out. And when we don't have a morning practice, and what I mean by that is time spent quietly, if meditation, just quieting the mind feels overwhelming, try some guided meditations that are just for calming and peace. And the reason why is we need to silence that chatter in our brain, that because it's usually not helpful chatter. It's chatter that gets in the way of us figuring things out. It's chatter telling us we can't do what we really want to do. And it's so pervasive that it gets in the way of us even knowing what we want to do. And so that every morning space of finding time, short amount of time, doesn't have to be long, of that. And then if you can add into that appreciation practice, and my favorite appreciation practice is just a few words, but I write down three things in my appreciation notebook. And it is, what do I appreciate in others, usually from the day before, but anytime. What do I appreciate in life? And things that make me feel good, not things like I'm grateful for a roof over my head. If there's only one thing in your house that you love, appreciate the one thing in your house that you love. That's the thing. Or the one thing about your place that you love, or your favorite animal that you love, the things that make you feel good. And then the last thing is, what do I appreciate in myself? And that's a really, really important one, because as you start to make that a habit, and you start to appreciate yourself, and you give yourself a little quiet time in the morning meditation to silence that negative chatter, you will start to find your way. And then make it a goal to feel good as many times as possible. Any moment that you can turn on music, create your own favorite playlist. Any moment that you can spend appreciating whatever there is to appreciate around you in that day, which is what the appreciation practice will help you start doing. Those will help you feel more in alignment with who you are. And because the more we beat ourselves up and have that negative chatter, the more out of alignment we are. And it gets to where we don't even know what we want or what feels good. And so things that consistently can help us do that are appreciation, meditation, or some way to quiet your mind and let that, because we talk even when we're praying, we're talking, and we have to listen. We have to give ourselves some silence for ideas and things to come in, and that when they come in, recognizes that's for us, and it's given to us by God's source energy, and every single one of you is worthy of it. Every single one of you is worthy of it. So those are the steps that I would start with. This leads perfectly into what's next. February, we are going to talk about self-love, because self-love and worthiness is the piece that gets us the opportunity to move into our dreams, our goals, our visions, and to create the extraordinary life that every single one of us is worthy of. It's not meant for just one or two people. All of us can take the ordinary, our ordinary, and make it extraordinary. And so, what we're going to do every Monday at 2 p.m. in February is we are going to talk about different aspects of self love. And the goal is to create a magical space for you guys to create your extraordinary life. If you have more questions or more interest, you can always, I do have a free one on one consult that's available through my website, drlucette.net. And you can go on there and you can schedule a free one on one consult and see, what might work for you. What do I have or what do we offer that can help you get to that space? And you're always welcome here. You're always welcome to watch any of the replays. The goal will be to start creating, more lives. And honestly, the true goal is for each and every one of you to get to live your vision and truly know what that is. Find your way to the things that feel so wonderful to you and create your own magical, extraordinary life. I love you guys, and I can't wait to see you again next week. And I hope everyone is able to get outside if that's what they want to do and have a magical rest of your Monday.